Hello, welcome to World Food Day 2022. And I know we are a bit late. Yeah, it's due to, unforeseen circumstances that made us to be here late. But thank God we are here and our guest is here. So we'll dive in right in into what we have now. Okay. So we've had a lot of global problem with respect to food and you know flooding, and where we are in Nigeria, we had a lot of flooding problems across many states. Okay. And I'd like to know, okay, what's your take with respect to nutrition? Okay. Are there things that you think that is actually okay? Let's start. What is exactly global warming? Let's just start from there. What is this global warming that we've been hearing? Even the Sustainable Development Goal has it in one of their, one of the things that they need to tackle. So, can you, talk us through what global warming is all about? Welcome, Dietitian Peace.
Good morning. It's a pleasure to be on this platform once again. I'm so excited to talk about this because I've been working on it for a while now. And happy
Okay.
World Food Day, Nutrition Warming,
Yeah.
everyone.
Thank you.
Okay, I would say that global warming is actually the heating up of the Earth's surface as a
Okay.
result of greenhouse gases. So these
Okay.
greenhouse gases, there are, okay, let me cite some example. It includes carbon dioxide, as we know, carbon dioxide, methane,
Okay.
some fluorinated gases, especially the ones that are artificial, water vapor, and some nitrous oxides. So these gases
Okay.
make up the greenhouse gases. And what do? They trap heat from the Earth's
Okay.
surface and then bounce the heat back into the Earth to heat up the environment. So
Okay.
this global warming is caused by the effect of these greenhouse gases, and this results to drastic climatic crisis and changes.
Okay. 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 So, can you are there relationship between nutrition and global warming, or food and global warming? Because just like we are getting to know in recent times that there are relationship between what we eat with respect to global warming. Is it a positive relationship, or is it a negative relationship? Just help us elaborate on that.
Okay, in terms of global warming, there is actually a link between nutrition and food. Here, this
Okay.
is because food waste is gotten from food. Food loss is gotten from food. So when food is not eaten and is discarded, the
Okay.
decomposition and the rotting can actually influence climate change by
Okay.
producing some of these greenhouse gases. So this is where nutrition food interplays. So this
Okay.
link is through food wastage and food loss. We know that food
Okay.
loss is actually when food that is edible is not eaten because maybe it was discarded at production site or it did not reach the consumers
Okay.
via processing, distribution, transportation. This is the actual the difference between food loss and food waste. But food waste is food that has reached retail or that has reached consumption, and this particular food that is edible is not eaten. So it's being
Okay.
discarded by either the consumer or maybe those that are retailing.
Okay.
So all this
Okay.
disposing of food waste, improper disposal of food waste can actually result or contribute to flood risk and global warming. How does it happen? When we throw away food and it goes to the dump site, to the pits, we can't call it that we can't call
Okay.
it composting because this is not composting, it's actually waste at landfills. So when this food rots, ethylene gases and some other gases are being emitted. One of the most potent gas that is being emitted when food is rotting is methane. And methane is 24 times or 25 times more potent than carbon dioxide in causing
Okay.
greenhouse effect. So
Okay.
when this methane is being released into the atmosphere, it goes up in the atmosphere or in the air, traps heat from the sun, traps the solar radiation, that's the rays that come from the sun, trap every other gas that evolves from the earth, heat up,
Okay.
get absorbed, and bounce it back into the earth. And when it bounces
Wow.
it back to the earth, you see that there are long-term climatic changes because methane can stay in the atmosphere for over years, over centuries, trapping,
Okay.
accumulating, expanding, reheating, and sending it back to the earth. So that's why we are seeing drastic climatic changes. And if we don't limit these climatic changes before 2040, it's estimated
Hmm.
that the annual temperature increase will rise to more than 1.5 degrees Celsius. And this is very devastating.
Wow. Wow. This is already becoming so scary right here now.
Yes.
Okay.
We can see the flood risk. We can see the level of inland water in so many states in Nigeria. And this is going to last, or this may, let me say may, because I don't want it to last. This may last the end
Yeah.
of November. So imagine hunger, imagine displacement, imagine death, imagine heat
Yeah.
stroke, and so many other things, even malaria, because mosquito breeds in waterborne environment. So I
Exactly.
don't know. We have to
Exactly.
work to cut down.
It's scary. It's scary right now. And from what you're saying, this food waste, it happens in different stage of
Yes,
the
at different,
agriculture
yes,
value chain.
chains, food chains,
From the
yes,
farm, from the processing, from the people distributing, down to the consumer, who is the
yes,
final destination, right?
yes,
And at this different stage, each person in charge does not dispose this food well, right? And
yes,
this is what is causing what we are facing today. Now,
yes.
I want to ask, are there ways that we can actually dispose this food? Do people need to start digging, their own compost sites or whatever to help, curtail this problem? Because this is a major problem. How do people dispose waste? Do they need bags? Do they need to dig their own whatever to make it possible? So what do you advise? Okay, what are better ways for people to curtail this problem? Is it for people to start eating what they can consume, or people to start preserving their foods better? Just let us know, at what do we need to start doing at this point?
Okay. I would list out some strategies that would help us. But before I talk about that, let
Okay.
us know that about 1.3 billion tons of food is wasted every year. And we
Wow.
have 967 million people that are hungry in the world. This food can feed, refeed, and feed everyone. So the idea now is not even to produce more, is to look at how we can manage what we have produced so that it can feed those that are underprivileged, those that are in hard to reach communities, those that are hungry, and then waste little or nothing. So how can
Okay.
we do this? We can take it from the agricultural aspect. Some of the
Okay.
chaff, some of the food waste or the inedible parts that are being wasted can actually be turned into farmyard manures or into compost. There are ways to compost some of this manure. You can use advanced technology, but at this level, there are ways you can dig up the earth, like make some dumps. When you do that, you put in some of these food particles or this food waste, cover up with good loamy soil. So in that way, whatever that is composting is happening inside the ground and not on the open air. And at
Atmosphere.
some Yes, and at some point when it must have decomposed well, you can now use your shovel or whatever appliance you have and take them to the farm and distribute them, and it will help the crop because it's as if they are returning the food that we feed the crop that is on the farm. This is number
Okay.
one. Then in terms of our food habits, there are three ways we waste food. Some foods can be spoiled and we don't want to eat them, and this is the chief. Then there are some foods that when we buy them, we want to consume them, but in one way or the other, we cannot consume them, we discard them. Just like when you go to visit a friend and they offer you some granite or some rice. This food is
Yeah.
edible, but because you don't want to look hungry, or you don't
Yeah.
want maybe a sapa or whatever is happening to you, you
Yeah.
would want to leave some food on the plate, knowing that you can actually finish this food. So imagine if everyone every day keeps 1 teaspoon or 1 tablespoon of food waste for 1 week. It will fill up a Ghana must go. I'm not exaggerating. So if you must eat, serve yourself what you can finish. Even when they serve you and it's too much, you have to tell them to cut out. This is where portioning comes into play. And thank God we are registered dietitian nutritionists. So it's our role to educate people that whether you are sick or you are not sick, at this point in this time, everybody needs portioning. Everybody has an ideal portion size. So with this portioning and control, not just for diabetic patients or whoever, this is for everybody to save this planet that we are in now. You have to take what you can finish
Okay.
and try to finish it. So in this way, you are wasting little or nothing.
Okay.
Then
Wow.
when we go to shop, we also have to shop smartly. You don't just
Okay.
buy perishable things in bulk when you know that you don't have means of storing them. Some
Yeah.
of the foods we produce or some of the foods we buy have gases in them. We have ethylene gas. This gas is responsible for growth and development of fruits and vegetables, ripening maturity of some of our foods. If you keep banana here and keep onion, banana will spoil onions. This is because banana is an ethylene gas producer. And onion, cabbage, some of these leafy vegetables will rot and wilt away because they're sensitive to ethylene gas. So that
Okay.
ethylene gas absorbers. So you have to know the right way to store food. This is where the role of dietitians come into play. We have so much work to do right now. We have to educate people that they have to shop smartly, they have to store appropriately, they also have to portion their meals. And when you're even storing this food, those that can be put in the freezer should be in the freezer. Those that should be in the refrigerator, you know that the timeline is short. Maybe within 3 to 4 days, it must be consumed. We all
Yeah.
culprits, we are all accomplice to this. But I believe that after this video, I, everyone, you, we all change. If something is going to be in the refrigerator, it should be for some days and it will be consumed. Leftovers should not be discarded. If you have a leftover white yam, you can turn it into porridge. You can turn it into egg sauce. You can turn it into yamarita. So these are just practical ways we can help ourselves and reuse some of these leftovers and some of our perishable foods so that it won't waste and we'll be able to eat them and get so much nutritional value from them.
Wow. Wow. We really have a lot to do with respect to the work we need to do right now. From the people, even the commercial people that, commercial food business people, I know a lot of them, they don't discard their waste. They have a lot of waste daily, and some of them they sell to people who, manage dogs. But at the end of the day, when they don't sell them off or don't give it out, they still do the same thing that people who are in household do, which is to expose these foods in the atmosphere that will lead to an effect on our climate. So
Yes,
I want to,
for some of these retailers, sorry to come in, for some of these retailers
yeah,
in London, in UK, some developed countries, there are some
yeah,
organizations that their duty is to carry excesses of food to some
okay,
people that may need them. There are homes like old people's home, less privileged homes. So some of this food that maybe was overproduced or they feel that the quality is not enough to be sold, they package them and send them to some of these homes because these
okay.
people are hungry and they need this food. So instead of this food to waste, it can be taken to them and they will even be so grateful that at least for today they have a food to eat.
Yeah, a friend of mine in the United States told me that whenever some of these big shops, big shops that sell, food in large quantities, when they are trying to maybe restock or dispose some of the foods that are no longer in their best of times, that people do come around, people that are hungry, people that don't have enough to buy these foods when they are fresh, and they come around and then they give it out to them just to help them, just find a way to
Yes.
recycle the food and make use of them, not necessarily disposing them inappropriately. And so we have three major ways to do this. We need to start disposing our foods well. We need to start eating with portion sizes. We don't need to eat
Yes.
more than we can, take in. A lot of people are guilty of this particular one. I know people. In fact, it's like a mental problem for even people that can afford food. What they
Yes.
believe is that you must leave some food on the plate. It's a way of life that they think is for the affluent. Okay, they think that the affluent need to leave some food on the plate. I remember some of my friends when I go out to eat. My mom taught me how to finish my food, every grain of food on the plate. Okay, if I'm eating a grain, I don't leave anything. So when I go out, I eat with the same mentality. So people will just be mocking me, telling me, why should you finish your food like that? It makes you look like a bush person. I said, what do you mean? Why should I waste the food? If I if I am hungry and this is the portion I need to eat, why do I need to give it out or leave it as leftover? This is a cultural thing as well. Okay, I think we need to start talking about them, because people go out and they go to eatery and they leave a lot of food on the plate. They just want to leave it because it makes them feel like they belong. Okay, it makes them feel like they are now, amongst the, elite class. Okay, so this is things we need to start educating people, to start doing, because it creates a problem for people who are managing these foods. Okay, on how to they can dispose this food, because leftover foods, definitely they won't sell it, they won't resell it, so they will need to find a way to discard it, or to dispose it. So people need to start eating what they can consume, all right, not leaving things, leaving food for, these food people, these food vendors. So are there things that the government can do, in your own, understanding? Are there things that government can do to help, curtail this problem, at different stages, whether it's at the farm, or the processing, or people distributing? Are there things that the government can do to, limit some of the waste that we have in our different agriculture value chain?
Yes, the government can do quite a lot of work, and they have so much work in their hands as we also do.
Okay.
One, there should be regulations and policies, workable one, not just the ones on paper. There should be regulation that if you're a producer, we don't expect to see so much tons of waste, food waste, from
Okay.
any process or any distribution chain of your production. When these policies are there and people understand the root cause of what is going on now, they will be able to effect the change. And there should also be regulators that, aside looking at the safety, the quality of this food, they should also look at environmental impact assessment, evaluation, to know the waste that is coming out from here. Is it meant to be? Is not meant to be? Then what can be done? That's the essence of evaluation. So government has a role to play in regulation and policy. Also,
Okay.
it's not just for the government alone. There has to be collaboration. There has to be rethinking of food chain. You have to involve everybody that is involved. The environmentalists, the nutritionists, the
Stakeholders.
experts. Everybody has to come together to make sure that it will work. So the government has to partner with these people that are involved in this food chain, so that they will be
Okay.
able to cut the emissions from food waste. And
Wow.
also, there also has to be investment on renewable energy. Okay, I happen to be around people that have been working on some sources of renewable energy. Sometimes I go on tours with them,
Yeah.
and I see so much passion that the engineers are putting into renewable energy, because they understand this environmental impact and what we are talking about very well. So government has to understand that it's not only fossil fuel burning or fossil fuel that can generate electricity for this country, because aside food, fossil fuel burning is also bringing out so much emissions from greenhouse effects. So
Exactly.
because of these renewable sources of energy, some of these food waste can be converted into briquettes and be used to generate cars, generate so many things. In some countries now, they use wind to generate the electricity. I think in some part of Russia, around the Pacific Ocean, it covers for so many cities and communities over there. We are blessed with sunlight here. So many solar technologies are doing well. So we still need to do more so that some of these things can be utilized and recycled for our own use. So these are ways that government can help. And you see that once they invest on all these renewable sources of energy, people will get employed. There will be revenue generation. And when the generation comes, it will be used for infrastructures like school, healthcare, enhance quality of life instead of using to solve flood problems, because we have tackled it from the root cause up to the top.
Wow. So government should start making regulatory policies around food waste, and also they need to start engaging with technocrats, stakeholders who have, something to offer to help, our recycling some of our waste so that we don't expose them to, the atmosphere, leading to problem for our environment. Wow. And we are in an election season, and I think this in civilized, in a more developed society, we have these conversations. They are actually campaign conversations that should, be on the front burner. So are there things that you would like to talk to, electorates, people out there, to look out for in some of the people that will be electing by next year, with respect to, this climate change? Are there things that you would like to see? Are there leaders that they need to look out for as we go out to elect new leaders by next year? Wow, I think I lost her. She will be here soon. So, like we were saying, we have a lot on our hands. We have quite a lot on our hands to do at this point, at different stages of production, food production. These things, we are guilty of them. Okay. So we have to play vital roles, okay, in helping curtail this menace. Okay. So if you are out there and you are listening to this, whether as a live broadcast or as a replay, I think you need to know the role you need to play. Okay. You need to start buying your food smartly. You need to start storing your food well. There are ways, better ways to store your food so that you don't endanger each other. Okay. There are foods that you don't store together, right? So you need to start doing these things properly so as to prevent food waste. Okay. Sorry, I lost you. I know it's due to the network. So I was asking if,
Yes,
can you
it's
hear
not.
me? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So I was asking, this is the election season, and in more developed societies, these are campaign topics that
Hello?
are in the front burner. Yeah, can you hear me? I can hear you well. Hello? Can you hear me? Hello, peace. Can you hear me? Hello?
Yes, I can.
I think the network is trying to disrupt us, but
I
if you
can
can
hear
hear me,
you.
okay, 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 good.
Yes.
So I was saying, in a developed society, Okay, these topics are always in the front burner during
I can hear
elections.
you.
Wow. Okay, while we wait for her, so I was trying to run down what she has said, some of the roles we need to play. Okay, so you need to buy your food smartly, know how to buy, look out for your labels to know when these foods will, when it is best for you to buy them, when it is not best for you to buy them. This is to help you not to buy them and they will spoil, right on time when you just bought them. Okay, so you need to buy food, look at the time, they are going to be best used, okay, so that you don't buy them and then it gets spoiled in your hand. All right. And then you need to learn how to store foods. I think the not nutritionist and the diet, maybe we'll have to do a separate video on how people should start storing different kind of foods, the best method to store some of this food so as to help them know exactly what they need to do. So store your food well, store them appropriately. There are foods that you don't store together. There are foods that you may need to, put separately from another, and this will help them last longer. Okay. So the government have a role to play. The government need to start, sorry, the government need to start making regulatory policies that support food, preservation, that prevent food from, spoiling. And then they need to start engaging with technocrats, professionals who are experts in, you know, creating um, a recycling solution to our food so that we don't waste some of this food. Okay, sorry. So welcome.
Well, I
I
think the
know,
network
I
has
know.
cut off. Thank you.
Yeah, welcome. So I was just saying, we are in election season, right? And a lot of people
Yes.
are campaigning for their candidates. So, with respect to climate change, what kind of leaders are we supposed to be looking out for at this time? Because we are in a very serious, situation that requires people who are, who have that political will to tackle some of the problems that we have. And with respect to global warming and food and nutrition, food insecurity is also a major problem even before global warming came. So, are there things that we need to look out for in the leaders that will be going out to elect by next year? What's your take on that? Wow, we lost her again. Come on, man. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Okay,
Okay,
right now,
yeah,
Nigeria
go ahead.
needs a leader that is financially, socially, and environmentally responsible, with so much inspiration and motivation for sustainable development. This is the only way we can deep cut emissions from this greenhouse effect. Because if we don't deep cut it, at the end of the day, our revenue, everything we've wasted, we'll still use it to fuel nemesis. So the leader we need now should be environmentally conscious.
Wow, wow, wow. Yeah, that this is just profound, right? We need a leader
Yes.
who is environmentally conscious, who is thinking about how to sustain, the environment, who is looking at how we can meet these goals, set out by United Nations in the Sustainable Development Goals. So these are leaders we need to start looking out for. Okay, so Mrs. Peace, this is our parting shot. I would like to hear, because I have discovered that you're so passionate. I want to join this your passion in this, in this regard. Okay, I'm really interested, very very interested in this particular topic, and I'd like to know at what point did you start this campaign, because it's a whole lot of work for you. So can you just tell us a bit of how this whole started? Okay.
Okay, earlier this year, I was reading about the Diomede Islands. I
Okay.
like to read food, nutrition, tech, geography. I really love geography so much. Forget that I didn't go to that aspect. So one of the times I was reading, I got
Okay.
to know that these two islands that separate Europe from America towards Alaska and Russia
Okay.
used to be a distant island, but in as much as they're distant from one another, they can actually intermarry, they can do trade, they can do so many things just because they're not connected just by sea, they're connected by sea eyes.
Okay.
So when I was reading, I found out that some years ago that they used to trek from one part of the island into the other island just by moving on ice and snow. But
Okay.
recently, they cannot do that anymore because the glaciers are melting. And this is as a result of global warming. So I started taking interest in that. Hopefully, around May, I did a carbon footprint radio talk. And then from
Wow.
there till now, I've been advocating and campaigning for it.
Wow. 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 I'm really interested in this particular one because we all have a role to play, right? And
Yeah.
since we are also in sensitization, this is part of what we need to sensitize people about so that people will be aware of it. And I'm, deeply committed to this project. And I think we will have a lot more to do. I was talking
Yeah.
about, I think we need to do something around how best people can do their purchasing, how best people can start storing their food. These are things that surrounds, what people need to know. Okay, because people may not really know some of these things that we are talking about, foods that need to be stored together and those of them that don't need to be stored together. I think maybe subsequently we'll look at how we can, bring some of these things to the
Okay.
public
If I
domain.
may add, Okay,
Okay.
if I may add, aside from that source of inspiration on reading on geography, my
Okay.
husband is someone that is very conservative in all things. He does not like waste.
Wow.
Even right now, you see, after
Wow.
this talk, he will still tackle me. He will still tackle me. So he does not like waste. You must buy, cook, and finish. There must not be any waste. And I just wonder that there's some recent
So,
projects he's been working on. He's been working on briskets, renewable energy, and all that. And I just hope that things work out well for him because he
okay.
has also motivated me to look at the nutrition aspect of it. Yeah,
Okay,
hopefully
okay.
we're working on something.
I think this is becoming a partnership right now. Okay, from the wife to the husband, there's this synergy that is coming, and there's a project on board, and this can blow into something that we can't imagine, right? So I
Yeah,
think
hopefully.
every man needs to start, having this conversation. Okay, you don't need to waste, you don't need to be, because I think the men are the major culprits here. Yeah, some women are really conservative to an extent. I know there are quite a lot of them who are also wasteful in terms of food. We have lack of food, proper food management, and this is what is leading to a lot of waste. I can remember when we were small in the village, and my mom is somebody who is very meticulous about food. Okay, my mom knows how to convert food from a particular one. You just said something about conversion of food, right?
Yes,
If a white yam becomes a bit not, spicy enough, my mom
yes,
knows how to convert it to a porridge yam, or a white rice is not that, attractive enough to eat as white rice. My mom knows how
yes.
to add
About
little,
it.
things to it to convert it to.
Conversion.
So, and the thing is that it doesn't make the food less nutritious. That's another thing.
Yeah,
It's not that this food have spoiled, but it's just that she's more sensitive to wasting of food. Okay, she doesn't want to waste food. She doesn't want to, make any food to, be thrown away. Okay, she doesn't want to be that person that will cause one food to be thrown away or something like that. So I think we need to start being sensitive and start sensitizing other people to learn
yeah,
how to properly, manage their food. Food
yeah,
management is a skill. Some people did
yeah,
not come out to learn it. Okay, some people did not come out, to start doing it. Some people had to learn how to manage, just like financial management. Some people are naturally gifted in financial management, while others had to just learn financial management. The same thing with food. I think we need to start having these conversations, from now on. Thank you so much, Mrs. Peace. Thank you. Mrs. Peach is a registered dietitian nutritionist and a founder of Peachy Nutrition, and she's doing a lot around this project. And I just want to, tell her that thank you for what you're doing for the environment. And I think we need to do a lot more, like I said. So maybe we talk about how we can develop, strategies on how we can help people learn how to help our environment while we eat healthy, food. Okay? Thank you so much. Do you have your last word for us?
Okay, let's keep doing what we can do, improve on our food habits so that we can save Nigeria, we can save the planet and enjoy it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And I like to appreciate you once again for availing yourself this opportunity, to be here. I thank you. I see it as a privilege. I'm not, going to abuse it. And I know we'll work a lot more in the future. Thank you so much. And do
Definitely.
have a blessed day. Bye for now. I'll see you on
Bye.
the other side. Yeah.